Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Just Seen podcast. And today, as you've seen from that title, we're going to be talking about children in a sense, and absolution of ignorance. But we're mainly going to be talking about children from a state of being, and well, as a title, not as like little kids and shit. Like I don't want y'all to feel like we about to be on this motherfucker talking about little 8-year-olds and shit. Nah, I'm talking about a child as an essence, right? One thing that we don't know. And one thing that we don't understand, well, I ain't gonna say we don't know and we don't understand. I'm gonna give the perception that I feel we don't understand because we don't exhibit this shit, right? That we don't know what a child is, for one. And for two, we don't know how to stop being a child, right? Because we gotta ask ourselves what a child really is. And a lot of us think, and because of the way society fucked us up to where we don't know the true essence of nature, so we don't learn the real shit that nature's supposed to be teaching us. So we kind of make up our own rules and say fuck nature. Well, I ain't gonna say we, some motherfuckers made up their own rules and said fuck nature, and then gave those rules to everybody else. Now everybody else is living as if they're in accordance with nature, still saying fuck nature, don't even know it, right? So you got to ask yourself what a child is, right? That's the first and foremost point. Because when I say what a child is, our minds, because of what the title is, we associate it with a little kid, a little, infant, child, basically anything under, technically, how we look at it on paper is anything under 13 is a child. Because then, oh, now you're adolescent, preteen, all of this shit. I'm going to keep it 100 with you. You're not a child until you're 29 years old. You don't stop being a child until after your 29th birthday. I know, right? It's crazy because a child, as you've seen from the title, a child is not a being, but it is an expression of a being. It is the ignorant expression of a being. And ignorant doesn't mean stupid. Ignorant doesn't mean belligerent. It doesn't mean ignorant means ignorant. And ignorant means that you lack the knowledge, right? Here's where things get kind of crazy because a lot of us lack the ability to stop being children. Why? Because the first thing that makes us a child is muted. Two things that I've learned and I've observed within our culture and within the world as a whole is that children are largely disrespected and overlooked, but often misunderstood, right? Because what does it mean to be a child? It just means that you live life ignorantly, right? As if you're trying to figure it out. One thing that we do is, as adults to children, is we stop them from asking why, right? Like children come into the game. That's the only question they ask. Why? Do you know why children ask why? Because why is one of the questions that bridge the gap to make the other questions answerable. Why will lead to how, it will lead to what, it will lead to where, it will lead to when, it will lead to what extent. But you got to know why. Why will always be a catalyzing initiator. Why is also the most important, not why is often the question that children ask the most. Why? So here's where it gets dark, because this is how you create a stupid society. This is how you create an ignorant society. This is how you create an arrogant society. But more importantly, this is how you create a controllable society. Everybody's children. This is gonna fuck y'all up. This episode will probably fuck y'all up because y'all gonna be like, damn, bro, we are all kids. Yes, we are all kids. And not just because I'm an entrepreneur, but only entrepreneurs are adults in this world. They not gonna tell you that part, right? Everybody else is children. And it sucks because everybody else thinks they're adults. So what they've done is they've created legalities to where at 18, now you're legally, because we know we're not going to take you cosmically or spiritually away from being a child. We're not going to take you that. So we're going to give you some kind of title to make it seem like you're not a child anymore. You feel what I'm saying? So when you're 18, you're legally an adult, but you're not an adult. That's why they put that up there. At 18, you're legally an adult. Well, really, it's 21 now. So at 18, now you're legally sound enough, right? Fuck whether you actually learn the skills or not. At 18, now you're legally sound enough to buy cigarettes. At 21, you're legally sound enough to drink alcohol, right? That shows you right now they create legalities within your childhood. at certain milestones to say, you're able to do this now. We'll give you permission to do this now. Right. So we create milestones and rites of passage. Motherfuckers really think everybody's supposed to learn to drive at 15 and 16. No, bitch, you learn how to drive when you're ready to drive. The fuck? It's not hard. You feel what I'm saying? But motherfuckers have followed a system that says this is your milestone of child, but they never stop asking why. Well, they never keep asking why as a child. They just stop. So what does that do? But before we dive heavy into that, be sure to follow me on Instagram _scene_. Be sure to check out my website at I Am Just Seen to get all things that are just seen. To all those who tip, donate, and sponsor the podcast, you are greatly appreciated. To all those who would like to tip, donate, and sponsor the podcast, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of this podcast. Not this episode, but the podcast itself. And as always, Cash App and PayPal are just fine. And y'all know the vibes. That's that for this and that's this for that. So we're going to take a quick break and we're going to dive into... Wow. I don't even have the title for this shit. Child. That's what we're going to do. We're going to dive back. When we come back, we're going to dive into Child, the Absolver of ignorance. And don't forget to visit IamJustSeen.com. There, you can get all things Just Seen. You want to add the So For Real series to your library? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to learn how to master the markets for serious trading and investing? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You ever want to just chat with Seen about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at IamJustSeen.com. So take a quick peek into my world to see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it, and you will never see it unless you visit IamJustSeen.com. Welcome back. And without further ado, we're going to dive straight into this motherfucker and get started. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to pick back up where I was leaving off. Children, bro. Like, the first thing of like when a child enters this world, the first thing they do is start asking why. Granted, they don't talk till about a year and a half, 2 years, however, whenever your kids talk. But they don't really talk initially, but they're still asking why. Why the fuck does that do that? Maybe not the fuck, because they don't have the vocabulary for that. But they're looking at things and saying, why does this happen? Why are they walking? Why are they talking? Why are they eating? Why are they doing the things that they're doing? When we consider children, this is me personally, my personal understanding. I can't really say, because I like to bridge a lot of gaps and connect a lot of pieces after studying. So I can't really say. I haven't found information on this yet, but I feel like when we consider what it is to be the child, like in psychology or even just the developmental side of it, they say that a child's memory banks don't kick in until they're about 2 years old. Incidentally, that's when they also become terrible twos, right? And it's like, why does that happen? And I think personally it happens because at 2 years old, they have lived enough to make certain associations memorable. It's not that their memory banks kick in. It's just that they finally reach the point where they have not consumed so much information. Well, the information that they're starting to consume is becoming normal, right? So you got to think about it. Within the first 2 years, everything is new. That's a human period. No matter where you go, if you get a new job, you go to a new school, you go everywhere. The first two, you get a new program on your computer, new phone. The first 2 years, well, I ain't gonna say new phone because they don't really add much to phones. But the point that I'm making is that when you get new shit, it takes about 2 years for it to not be new anymore. If you're truly exploring it everywhere you're supposed, like it's like electronic shit. Sometimes we only get electronic shit for the purpose. Like we don't actually read the manuals, go back in, find all the pieces to it. Not many people do that shit anymore. Why? Because we are not children. We are not the children we're supposed to be. You feel me? We're sedated children. We're the children who don't want to ask questions. We're the children who can't ask questions, right? You ask too many questions. I tell y'all the story all the time. When I was in school, I always got in trouble for talking too much. But the talking that I did was because I asked questions. I needed to know why. And this is the reason why I was able to become an adult when it was time to become an adult, because I used my childhood to truly absolve myself of my ignorance. You feel what I'm saying? Because I never stopped asking why. I still don't stop asking why. Motherfuckers get mad at me because I'm at the age where motherfuckers be like, yo, how do you know so much? You remember that time Like, and it's funny, it's a bittersweet thing because like I watch the culture. Like nobody wants a child asking why. They keep saying shit like, "Oh, sit down somewhere, you get it," because you don't have the. It's not even that people don't have the patience. They don't have the intelligence for it. This is going to be sad and it's going to be hard to say. A lot of people don't have the intelligence to actually create children, but they create them anyway. I mean, that's kind of what the forces that be want, because now you can't elevate them out of childhood. You can only make them another subservient child. They thought about the concept a lot differently. They said, you know what? It's easier to enslave children that want to be enslaved than it is to capture adults that don't want to be enslaved anymore. So what do we do is make the adults create the slaves for us. The children are going to trust their parents. The children are going to believe their parents. And now when you're in an ignorant society where a parent says, you're in a culturally ignorant society and the parent says, I know best. And they don't know shit. You know why? Because they're still children themselves. You don't find out that your parent was still a child when they had you until you become an adult and you realize, till you get older and you see that, wow, my parent may not have been able to was not supposed to have a child. So now as a child, you now have to parent yourself. You have to parent this. Like a lot of us are parenting it's a reason why this shit works the way it works. It's a system. You feel me? It's a reason why when you're in a certain culture, you have certain things repeat themselves. They tell us that shit's hereditary. No, it's not. It's just cultural. It's societal. Ain't shit hereditary. It's ignorant based. Niggas don't know shit, so they can't break cycles. But they're children. They remain children all their lives. So now, what does that actually entail? So you know how I always talk about um the three types of energy. You have the fraternal and sororal, your spousal energy, and then your maternal. And being childlike is all fraternal and sororal. You cannot learn without invigoration. So any opportunity, any time that we want to learn, anything that approaches ignorance, like we have that curiosity to it, we have that zeal and that desire to learn it because of the child in us. You feel what I'm saying? And it's having this child in us that makes us actually want to thrive and use our minds. But here's the thing about it. That's all fraternal and sorority energy. That's our playful energy. Imagine you learn when it's time to play, but they make us learn when it's time to work. Ain't that some shit? Imagine if they flipped it and they had us learning during recess and not using recess as an interrupter between the work. You know how much more intelligent people would be when I tell people I got significantly smarter in the 5 years. In the years post med school, I got significantly smarter than I did in the years pre med school because I was like doing the shit like not as a child. When I started doing this shit as a child, I learned so fast because I was like, yo, all you gotta do is have fun with this shit. Keep asking why and play around. And you learn a lot faster than you learn to mature it and move it into other forms of energy. But none of us are taught that. None of us want to be children until we get older. And then now all of a sudden it's, the youth is wasted on the young. I had so many older people tell me that shit. Like we're talking to like, yo, and that's one of the reasons why I do what I do now. But they would be like, the youth is wasted on the young. And I would always be wondering how? How? Because the elders aren't guiding the youth into what to do with their childhood. So they're gonna waste it. Oh, you're a child. Like I've literally had people tell me, you're still a child, so you don't have to get serious yet. Before I turned 18, I was like, don't take life so serious. Like, case in point, what's the video that's going viral now with the shorty from that was, I don't know her name, but I feel like she was on Love and Hip Hop at the time. But she was interviewing Michael B. Jordan. He was like, yeah, you called me corny in class. In her description, he was focused, he was serious, he was always had his head shot for act, like he was serious about like, yo, and again, this the testament. Now, when I said just mentioning entrepreneurs are adults. The celebrities, the successful people that we end up following, those are the adults that are doing the shit that transition out of childhood in a certain regard, right? Because now they move into a level of now you're the adult moving into it's a different level. But I'll explain what I mean by that. The entrepreneur is the person who says, I have to be an adult and be accountable and responsible. You don't have to be accountable and responsible for being a child. You know why? Because you didn't know why. How many times you fucked up on some shit and you just got away with it because, oh, you didn't know. That's not an excuse. That's not an excuse. You know why? Because when you turn 18 and you don't know and you still commit a crime, the ignorance of the law is not the absence of the law. So we got to stop making it a pass in real life. Like, oh, you can be ignorant to this. That don't stop the shit from happening in your life, because now they're asking, now they say, well, a child loses their innocence. We got to look at what innocence really is. Again, because the way they tie it to the court system, you think innocence means absolution of guilt. Like, I'm not guilty for shit. No. When you lose your innocence, that means you finally lose your, no. When you lose your innocence as a child, you finally gain the ability to see dualities. When they tell you that a child finally loses his innocence, that's when you see good and bad. There's never, like, that's when you finally see there is no singularity in this world. There is only duality, and it fucks you up because you can't fathom good and bad as a child because you're too ignorant to. And again, we can't look at ignorant as a bad word. You just don't have the experience to say, you know what, that's some fucked up shit. Now, when you're in a culture, right, where when you're in a culture that constantly perpetuates certain things against you, right, you now have to transition into a different space because you can't be what you want to be. You have to be what makes you survive. You feel me? How many people, when I tell people like, yo, that you're still a child to me, they feel like I'm disrespecting them and calling them condescending. No, I'm actually giving you your respect and not pushing and putting more on you than, because I can treat you like the adult that you're supposed to be, for real, for real. But if I could see that, oh yeah, with this, you're still a child. You're still ignorant with this shit. You feel me? Just, and they make it so it's such a universality thing, like where once you, that's why they have the legalities, because they don't want you to know that being a child is conditional. Being a child is conditional to experience and nothing else. So yes, you can be a child in the sense that you're only a child in the sense that you haven't experienced yet. You feel what I'm saying? And this is one of the reasons why it gets crazy, because our children often experience what we as adults experience with us. So you can't tell them that their experience with you in this particular thing, like, oh, you're a child in this. They're not a child in this situation anymore. They're just as old as you are in this situation, quote unquote. You feel what I'm saying? Like, growing up in a single parent household, there was things my mama learned, and as she was learning them, I was learning them too. So, like, I learned them with her. I'm not a child to that, but I'm still a child because the titles have to hold supreme. Because when now I'm like, because now when it's the child part has to kick in, it doesn't work. It doesn't work because it's like, I know this though. I know this. For example, when it comes to anything computer related within the family, I'm the elder. I've been the elder, but I've also been the baby of the family. So it's one of those things where it's like, how? Because to be a child in childhood is not a point of your age. It's not a point of your tier and your hierarchy. It's all a point of your ignorance. The moment we can understand that, we can realize and we can actually raise our children better. When children come, like I said, when they come into this world, they ask why. Me as a person, I never stop asking why. Some of y'all, if y'all listen to this, you stop asking why. You're probably frustrated in life right now. You probably, yo, you were deprived of your childhood. Most of us, and I'm gonna tell you what it is, they distract us from our actual childhood. This is gonna really fuck y'all up as we go forward. They distract us from our childhood, bro. They give us the toys and the shit. This is what children are supposed to do. No, they're not. Children are supposed to be answering why. That's why they're asking this shit. Take away everything. Take away everything. Take away the toys. Take away the clothes. Take away everything. Leave basic survival. I promise you. If you just in a space with your child don't know they're in poverty. Your child don't know shit, but your child will still have the capacity to ask you why. They create circumstances where parents can't answer why anymore. So who's left to answer why? The media, the entertainment, the teachers, their friends. As a parent, you're their first guide. See, and here's the problem. We don't guide our children. We try to control them. The reason why is because we don't have the knowledge base to control. We don't have the knowledge base to guide. We only have the ignorance to control. Keep that in mind. That's how the society functions. Everybody's children. And you can only be controlled when you're a child. This is a crazy mindfuck. I love how they play this game. It's fucked up because it's sadistic, but it's like, I can't knock the hustle, nigga. If they don't see it, they don't see it. That's not on them. But it's like, yo, the hustle is so simple because it's like all we got to do is make people stay children. We laugh at Peter Pans. Like you're in America living in Neverland. You don't believe me? Why do you think when people start getting grays in their hair, first thing they want to do is dye it? Because they want to go back to being a child. You feel me? Women right now getting BBLs, they're getting their body contoured and shaped to look like 24 to 27-year-olds. You're not 24 and 27. Oh, but you still think you a child. I'm not old. Yes, you are. Like everybody older than me keeps telling me they're not old. I acknowledge it. I'm like, yo, I'm getting older. And I realize why I'm comfortable and they're not. And this ties into this episode because when I look at them, they don't know how to absolve their ignorance. That's a scary thing because we get degrees and think we're intelligent. This whole system is designed to keep us children because you can only enslave children. You cannot enslave adults. You cannot enslave elders. You can only enslave children, like mentally. And you can only control ignorant people. It's called the government, y'all. Govern means control. Ment means the mind. It can't get no plainer than that. But when you are in a space where you now realize that the government, like, and this is why, like, you know, quote unquote, the rich people, the entrepreneurs, successful, see, like, this is why they hate paying taxes because it's fucked up. Motherfuckers be like, the rich should pay more. That's a childhood mentality to say the rich should pay more until you start crossing that line. You're like, I should not pay more. You know why? Because I'm doing work that other motherfuckers won't do. What they don't really pay attention to about an entrepreneur. Yeah, they can get mad and talk about Bezos. Well, he got 1 billion people and this people still starving. You know why? Because those same starving people, not those same starving people, but in context, those same starving people could be helped out by the people that are funding Amazon. Those same starving people are getting walked by the niggas ordering shit off of Amazon. Oh, nah, they just gonna use the money to smoke it up. I ain't got no cash on me. All I got is my debit card. I'll buy you something though. I'm the type of motherfucker to say I ain't got my debit card. I'll buy you something though. You feel me? Ain't give me no money. But I'm also not complaining about the homeless situation because I'm not trying to fix it. You feel me? We want somebody. That's a childish shit. You see the problem. You want to, like, when you see a problem, that means you're formulating a solution. When you see the problem and you don't formulate the solution, that means you stop asking why. When you want somebody else to formulate a solution, you want somebody else to solve the why. You don't want to be an adult. So miss me with that bullshit. I don't give a fuck because you work at a job for 20, 30 years. I don't give a fuck because you've been on this earth twice my life. I don't care. How much ignorance have you absolved within yourself? If I'm having a conversation where it's going to seem so morbid. This is one of the things I know. It's not that I disrespect my elders. I have no desire to listen to old children. And because motherfuckers look at age all the motherfucking time, they don't understand experience. I've been on this earth longer than you. I don't give a fuck. I have far more experiences than you. I have less ignorance than you. That said something. If a person has been on this earth longer than you, but you are far less ignorant than they are, that's a problem. Because now it ties into what Muhammad Ali said. He said, if at 50 you still think the way you did at 25, you wasted 25 years of your life. But let's change that, tweak that just a little bit to cater to this conversation. If at 30, at 60, if at 50, you're still thinking the same way you did at 25, you were a child for 50 years because you never absolved. Imagine having ignorance sit for 25 years and you not absolving it. Because the problem is you don't even think it's ignorance. You think it's how you're supposed to be because the people that preceded you never went beyond that. You feel what I'm saying? When people look at me, I'm like, you can't son me. No human being can treat me like a child. And I don't look at it from his perspective. It's almost like when I talk about professionalism. When people say, you're not a professional, bitch, yes, the fuck I am. You didn't deliver it professionally, bitch, yes, the fuck I did. Was I wrong? You don't like the way I behaved as I presented my shit. I don't give a fuck about that. Was I wrong? I'm professional by skill set. You feel me? I'm not professional by behavior. This is what gets a lot of motherfuckers fucked up because they're professional by behavior. They think they really know shit and they don't. They know enough to pass tests. They know enough to get critiqued, to get approved by. Imagine this. You get taught by one professor in a college course. How many other professors in the world, in the country, how many people are teaching? So it's a perspective. You trust in the perspective of a topic. And you better hope that this motherfucker gave you the perspective enough to take you to the next level. You feel me? I was in undergrad and I seen motherfuckers who passed and beasted at a prerequisite but failed the next course. How? I needed the same teacher. You don't need the same fucking teacher. It's the goddamn material. When I was in undergrad, whenever I used to register for classes and shit, like my science and class and shit, they'd be like, try to get this teacher. I don't give a fuck about the teacher. Fuck y'all. Nah, this teacher hard. This teacher gonna be this. I literally seen people change their major because of a teacher being the only teacher to offer something. Nigga, I love absolving ignorance. I don't give a fuck about. You're scared to absolve your ignorance. You're scared to challenge your ignorance being absolved. That's why I would watch people like, yo, C's get degrees. I don't trust people with like people who are comfortable getting C's. This is why they get hired first. They're not gonna hire the A motherfucker, contrary to what you believe. Well, they are. There's two types of A motherfuckers. You feel me? There's the child A type motherfucker who just accepts the content and doesn't know it. But then there's the A motherfucker who learns the material and expounds upon it. You can't employ a motherfucker who learns the material and expounds upon it because now they know it better than you. You dig what I'm saying? I take it back to different just jobs that I was in, different shit that I was in. I was always, in a sense, the top motherfucker. I may not have started that because, again, I'm the child in this situation. But I'm gonna absolve my ignorance to the point where I'm not. You not. No, no, no. It can't go like that. But because we think a child is a point of like, think about this. The childhood is our quest to learn. This is why it makes sense why people stop reading at 18. Most motherfuckers will never read another book until if after high school. Most motherfuckers never read another book. If they go to college, then it's after undergrad. But after 22 years old, the amount of people who read books afterwards is significantly low. I have not stopped reading books. And a lot of people, oh, you just a nerd. No, bitch, I'm a child. In the time in which like they were saying, like, I'm a child, bro. Like, I no matter what it is, I approach. And now it makes sense. Like when I look at the doctrines of the Bible and shit. It shows how niggas really don't be understanding shit. So even in the Bible, Jesus tells you you gotta come as a child. And motherfuckers be like, you feel, and motherfuckers really come ignorantly as a child. They be like, oh, I gotta come as a child is naive. I gotta come as a child is gullible. So they call it having faith. But if you come in as a child, it's either gonna be naive or gullible. That's not what it is. What they meant was come with the innocence of a child. And as we just broke down, the innocence is not that, you know what I mean? The innocence is your inability to see good and bad. Go figure. Go figure. Your ignorance is your being a child is your inability to absolve your ignorance, and your innocence is your inability to see good and bad. When you finally see, like, you're like, case in point, some people never lose their ignorance, their innocence, and still some people never lose their innocence about certain shit. Y'all remember that episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the old one, not the new one, but the old one, where Will and Carlton got locked up because Carlton was driving the Beamer. And Will and Uncle Phil got it. Nigga, we know why they pulled you over. Carlton's, they're just doing their job. Even in the moments where he's experiencing the negative shit, he cannot see the negative shit. His innocence cannot let him see anything besides the fact that the police work. My dad's a judge. He's like, you don't understand why you're. That's why Will and Uncle Phil had a different conversation that Carlton didn't have. Because why? Carlton was shielded from that episode. Carlton was shielded from that form of information. The ignorance Carlton was shielded from. How? I don't know. Because Ashley wasn't shielded from it. Hillary may have been. But Carlton was shielded to where it's like, we're rich. We live here. These problems don't bother us. So his innocence. Will had experienced it early because he experienced what Uncle Phil already had. You see what I'm saying? Our childhoods are tainted because we don't know what it is to not be a child. We think a child is a point of age. So the reason why I'm mentioning that point is because by 18, right, it's now go to college. Wait, what? College is going to teach you things. It's sad that we have to go out to be taught rather than go within to learn. You know why? Because we don't ask why. You know how many times you've been in a class or something, and because you're so programmed not to ask why, it's so wired. You may ask a lot of questions when you're in school, but then it's like they'll start to stifle you. You can't ask that question no more. You can't ask this question no more. Then you get to the questions where you're too young to know about that. You stop asking questions. Never means that your ignorance stops or your desire to absolve your ignorance stops. You feel me? I'm calling it a desire to absolve your ignorance based off of the context of what we're talking about. But it's just insatiable appetite. It's an insatiable appetite to learn. Everybody's nosy. Everybody's nosy. When you want to know what another person doesn't know naturally. So much so that you literally, like, if somebody pulls their phone out, you'll look at their phone too. That ain't got shit to do with you. But you'll look at the phone. You know why? Because you're inquisitive. You want to know why you pulled your phone out. That's why your eyes went to it as soon as they pulled their phone out. You feel me? When motherfuckers start arguing, you want to know why they are arguing. Why are they getting loud? There's whys to everything. The moment something catches your attention internally, whether you verbally acknowledge it or not, you've asked, why did this catch my attention? And then why did it catch my attention? Why is this thing doing it? You're asking why, and you're looking, but because we don't know how to solve it, we make up whatever thing we want to make up for it. And it's so tragic because we believe and trust anybody that preceded us, as children do. This is the only reason why the pandemic worked. I know this is going to seem very, very dark. They knew the collective were children. Only children got vaccinated. This is going to be disrespectful because it's going to be like, well, there's a reason why they keep certain sciences away from people. Law. Like, motherfuckers be thinking the shit's hard. It's not that it's hard. It's that it's tedious, and it's tedious for a reason. They know children don't have the attention span to do certain shit like that. But if you have the attention span to complete something like this, to follow a certain pattern, and whether you learn information or not, but be a child enough to follow a certain pattern, let us tell you what you need to know and regurgitate it. We'll pay you handsomely. We'll make people think that it's, and so everybody will listen to that. That shit blew my fucking mind to know. Like, you'll know who was an adult in this situation and who wasn't. The people that said, you know what, I can't deal with this vaccine, I stand down. Those CDC directors that quit. Nobody's talking about a lot of the people that just quit. Those were the adults. The children got y'all jabbed. The children got jabbed. You know why? Because they could not absolve their ignorance on this. You know why? Because internally, when trauma hit, when the disaster hit, they reverted back to their fetal position. And then reverting back to their fetal position, they went back to how they problem solved. A lot of us, because we have been told we were too young for this or had things done for us because we were children, we weren't allowed to solve our own problems. A lot of us don't know how to solve our own problems. So when the shit happens, who do we rely on to solve our problems? The fucking government, the mind controllers. It can come on conspiracy theory all day long. I don't give a fuck. I know a child when I see one. I know how children are easily manipulated. Don't nobody get how motherfuckers be like, yo, you're 18. They be like, yo, you over 18, motherfucker. Like, motherfuckers don't get why men be 40, 50 years old and they still don't get it. Because I'm allowed to be a child. Women are allowed to be a child until it's time till they decide that they want to get married, have a relationship with kids and shit. That's when they got to get serious and shit. Now you got to start resolving your ignorance. Let me start looking at financial literacy and all this shit. Men don't. We can play around. We can play around and be a zaddy. We can be a sugar daddy. We can be whatever the fuck we want. We ain't never got to be adults. And that's who's running the world, children. Imagine. So y'all know how I feel about masculinity, and then what's running masculinity right now is toxic femininity, right? So that's what we think is masculinity, and it's being exhibited by children. Y'all remember that Haribo commercial with the gummy bears where the kids is in suits and shit eating gummy bears, but they're acting like adults, but they're really kids? Oh no, it's like the adults and children's voices. Yes, nigga. These Fortune 500 motherfuckers, that's what that shit is like. These executives, the CEO does not need anybody who can absolve his own ignorance, because you can figure out my plan and bring my business down. You feel me? My old this is funny as fuck. My old account manager who taught me all of the game when I was an account manager, he was saying shit like, yeah, bro, you gotta learn. He was teaching me all the game, but he was absorbing game too. Me and him were on the same wave, absorbing ignorance and learning this game. Let me tell you about this motherfucker, yo. He is a gangster for real, yo. I ain't mad at him. It's fucked up, but hey, he learned a whole system so much, and then he learned a system so well, learned the ins and outs, and then black dude too. Well, he Hispanic. He Afro Latino, right? Let me tell you, I said, yo, he black, because his name Angelo and shit. He got his. I'm like, nigga, you black, bro. I get it. You from Miami and you light skin and you think you not black. You whatever. But anyway, so he's moving up in the ranks and he's, learning this game. So he moved up fast. They were like, yo, he moved up faster than me. Makes sense why he moved up faster than me, because he taught me. Like, he literally was just like, yo, put the game. We had a similar mindset. So this motherfucker learned the whole system. He learned every client that they had, right? He learned where they failed at because he works in the system. He started his own valet business and became a competition. My nigga. My nigga. That's what CEOs worry about. That's what employers worry about. They worry about the motherfucker who's not a child. When I went in, this is one of the reasons why it was so hard for me to understand. Like, when people would say things like, I need more money, you think they'll give me more hours? I would say, fuck more hours. Ask them for more money. They're like, I could do that. What you mean you can do that? All right, well, nigga, shit, go ask for more time. I don't nigga, they're not taking my time, bro. They could, you feel me? You're gonna give me some more money. That means I gotta absolve my ignorance and learn more work. That's where they don't want to do it at. You feel me? So it's like, when you have that drive to absolve your ignorance and you actually go through with it, it fucks with a lot of people. Because the absolution of ignorance is what takes you from being a child. That's what makes you not a child anymore. I have quite a few conversations with women, and from time to time, like, yo, you childish. I am not. I am not. Because it'd be a double-edged sword. Because they'd be like, how did you accomplish it on such a mature level, but you play so much? Because I already answered that why. If you see me playing, it's because I don't have a why for what it is, and I know that I'm gonna put this joyful energy into go learning something new. I don't put paternal and maternal energy into learning. I don't learn to be mature. I learn it because it's the zeal in me. It's the childlike part in me. Because I have to absolve the ignorance. You dig what I'm saying? So I play. But then it's like, yo, how do you play so well? And then, like, you this, cuz nobody absolved my ignorance for me. Right? And now I take it back to a lot of us. Imagine when you was ready, like, for example, me, when I was ready to have a sex talk, nobody wanted to talk about it. You know why? Because I was a child. They said, you're too young to know about it. No, I'm not too young to know about it. That's why I want to know about it. Like, you better absolve this ignorance before I do. I absolve the fuck out of the ignorance, bro. Because I never forget it. Like, it fucked me up because, like, I say I was an early bloomer. Early bloomer. Y'all know that. But it makes sense why I started fucking at 11, because I watched my first porno at 7. And it makes sense that would happen because me and my older brother were older apart. I found this tape. I found this collection. He was already a teenager. I found it. I was like, let me pop this in. Oh, whoa. That's different. You feel me? And I never forget it. This might be a little, y'all can skip this if y'all heavy religious, what I'm about to say next. It ain't nothing too graphic, but it's one of the reasons why I kind of like, when I watched that first one, it was like, what does head feel like? Because I was like, why is she sucking on his thing like that? I was 7 when I seen that. I'm like, why is she sucking on his thing like that? That never left my mind. I couldn't ask nobody because I wasn't supposed to. Nobody was supposed to know I found a tape, right? So it never left my mind. I wanted to try it. So for 4 years, because at 7 I seen that for 4 years, in my mind I've been wanting to absolve this ignorance. And then when I absolved the shit, that was it. That was it. I knew I wanted to be fucking. I knew it. I said, okay, not on there. Y'all keeping this from me for a reason, because they didn't know. They didn't know shit about spiritual ties. They didn't know shit about energy transfers. They didn't know shit about tantras. And speaking of tantras, yo, tantra yoga, right? It's amazing what I'm about to say right now. This ties into it, but like, I've been doing some studying on some different shit. And cause y'all know I'm back in my study bag, and I'm gonna have a conversation about this a little bit later once it marinates a bit. But Tantra yoga, right? I've always studied it, but like the words finally clicked, the name finally clicked. So Tantra, everybody talks about Tantras are related to sex and yogas and shit like that. But Tantra means prayer, right? And yoga means to yoke. So Tantra yoga is sex, right? So sex is prayer. It's unified prayer, right? So now you got to ask what prayer is when you send in a message in. So it's like that means equally meditation is involved in that. So prayer and meditation go hand in hand. Meditation is sense of concentration. Here's why I'm saying this. Here's why I'm saying it. Because sex is not a playful toy that we've been using it for, because we're children. because we're children. That's why they promoted it so quick. That's why porn is so accessible. That's why all this, because it's like, we don't want you to know about sex. If you knew about sex, you wouldn't have sex. And then the entire market that we built off sex we wouldn't be able to, like, you equally have the porn industry and you have the prophylactic industry. Not prophylactic, contraceptives. Ain't that about the same shit? I don't know. Contraceptives. So you wouldn't be able to have the contraceptive in it, what you call it, right? If motherfuckers, like, I talk to people, it's like, yo, I just got, like, why are you, what is it about sex? Like, what is it about sex that you have not absolved the ignorance of, that you have to keep, because you keep getting that good feeling, it doesn't make you learn what sex is. You want that feeling. Like a child. They teach children to have rushes. You feel me? Energize, get, like, feel these things like quick bursts, but don't understand shit about it. So that way you can keep repeating the shit just because you're doing it. Like, motherfuckers really be like, this is how I started to know sex was, like, not supposed to be had by children, because children, we was, yo, I'm on my grown man. I'm on my grown man shit. What? I literally had motherfuckers. Now, this was probably like when I was, like, in my early 20s, mom. Because now they changed it, but in my early 20s, motherfucker, like, if you ain't eating ass, you still a little boy. Oh, well, I guess I'm still a little boy. Or are you still a little boy because you choose to eat ass? The ignorance I've absolved won't let me eat ass. Sorry. If you a shorty or whatever who was on some shit like, oh my gosh, if you're not eating ass, it's a no for me. Understand. Let that no stick. I don't give a fuck who she is, future, past. I don't know. I don't care. I'm not eating ass. And when I tell people that, like, I've had conversations like in forums with women, you don't eat ass. That's what? That's different. Like, that's I don't know about. Why do you want your ass eaten? Only reality is that it feels good. None of the ignorant shit. Well, all of the ignorant shit, but not the actual logical shit. So when the motherfuckers say, "Why don't you cuz, man?" Like, a lot of motherfuckers is constipated. Look at the rates of how many people are constipated. Then also compare how many rates of motherfuckers that eating ass. This shit don't make no sense. What a person took a shower. I don't give a fuck if you took a shower to clean the outside of your body. The inside of your body is hell. You ain't shitted in 3 fucking days. Why the motherfuckers be eating ass of motherfuckers who ain't shitted in 3 damn days, bro? No funny shit. And my ladies, I love y'all to life, but sometimes we gotta be 100. That fupa you can't get rid of. It ain't just because you ain't doing sit-ups. It's because you got compacted waist down there. Yeah. You feel me? So shit like that, learning shit like that, absolving ignorance doesn't let you do certain shit. So when the motherfucker says, you feel me, yo, why you don't eat ass? I have no desire to. But I'm saying, yo, it's for the shorty. She gonna feel. I don't give a fuck. I don't want no E. coli in my throat. You feel what I'm saying? You know how much toxic, you know how many, look, bro, look, think about this. Cancers are developed because compacted waste sits in your colon and recycles in your body. You're going to eat that shit? For the sexual moment? Fuck that. I'm not swallowing that shit, yo. That shit's stupid as fuck. Just imagine this, right? And I'm only saying this, wow, this is going to be a graphic episode, low-key, because this happened to me once when I was in undergrad. I didn't know the shit. It was my first time eating coochie, right? And shorty had a yeast infection, but it wasn't like she had a full out yeast infection. I didn't know. It was like I ate her, and then like a couple days later, it was like I had like some white patches at the back of my throat and shit, right? And my tonsils, because that's how your tonsils work shit out. So I was looking, I was like, maybe it's from the smoking. Because I did get them when I was a smoker. Like when I smoked cigarettes, I got them too. So I was like, um, I'll leave it at that. So then she hit me up the next day or a couple days later. She was like, did those patches ever go away? I was like, yeah. She was like, oh, because I got a yeast infection. I was like, oh, just again in the child state was like, never factored that that's a possibility. So imagine shit, bro. If you can eat some pussy that has a hint of yeast in it and you can get a yeast infection in the back of your throat, the fuck you think is gonna happen if you eat an ass of a constipated motherfucker who potentially has a lot of toxins running through their body? But niggas want to feel good. You feel me? Ignorance is evil, my nigga. Now, they say ignorance is bliss, and ignorance is what keeps us as children. We wonder why all we do is childish shit. I know I'm on a roll with this one, bro. I'm on a roll with this one. Like, but roll with me. Keep rolling with me. You feel me? This is where we are, bro. They don't want us to be adults. They make us children, yo. Think about it. Think about, yo, look, it's gonna fuck y'all up. Again, I know I probably fucked y'all up a lot of this shit. Think about multivitamins now. They're all gummies. Oh God, bro. Multivitamins are gummies. You know why? Because motherfuckers could not absolve their ignorance to swallow a goddamn pill. One boy be like 50. They sound just like little 8-year-olds. You can't swallow a pill. Bitch, if you put enough water in your mouth, put the pill in the back of your throat, and don't try to swallow the pill, but try to swallow the water and everything in your mouth, you'll swallow the fucking pill. Motherfuckers try to swallow the pill instead of the water. No, nigga. You swallow the whole thing. You feel me? When you fucking eat your food and you scoop up like the mashed potatoes, the greens, and whatever else all on the fork at one time and you eat it, do you say, I'm gonna swallow the greens right now? No, nigga, you chew the shit and swallow it up. Now I'm not saying chew the pill, but when you put the water in your mouth, you put enough in there to swallow everything at once. That's how you swallow a pill. That's how you absolve yourself of the ignorance. You find ways to work and say, this works, I can swallow a pill. But what do? No, we complain about not being able to swallow pills, and now they create gummies. It's one of the biggest mind fucks. If you go to the either Walgreens, Walmart, whatever, go to the little health aisle, right? It's always blows my mind to see. And I guess it could be sexist. I don't give a fuck. But to see men's gummies. What? And more than that, when you see men's 50 plus gummies, I'd be like, wow. You're over 50 and you're taking it like you had all the time in the world to learn how to swallow a pill. And you still need gummies. You know why? Because they make us want to be children. They make us not want to use our minds. That's what all of this is about. To make you stay in a child space where you don't absolve ignorance, which means you don't utilize your mind, which makes it easier to control. But we'll give you a few titles to quote unquote feel some kind of importance about yourself. And in feeling this important, oh, I am this, I am that, I am that. But strip all of that shit, you ain't shit. Because you can't solve when a pandemic hit, you seen how many people weren't adults. The tone for the next 100 years has been set within these last 2. Same way it was with the Spanish flu and the Industrial Revolution with the cars and all of this other shit. When they wanted to solidify that shit because they knew that this was going to be profitable for the next 100 years, they shut shit down. They created the Spanish flu for a reason to say, now let's control people. Who came out on top? The car companies, the people that decided, let's solve a fucking problem. Let's absolve some fucking ignorance during this time. They literally reign supreme for the next 100 years. The Fords, the Dodge company, people, like all of these people outside of, like, that was what do you think we're doing now with the technology? Motherfuckers have been sedated into children. So this is crazy, yo. What I'm about to say you right now, I hope none of y'all fall into this. I know I'm not, but I hope none of y'all fall into this. But hope is, I don't even want to get into that etymology, but I'm gonna say it again. I hope none of y'all fall into this. By the year 2050, mind you, we're in 2032 now. Yeah, 28 years. By the year 2050, there will be what's called the useless class. I don't make this shit up. There will be what's called the useless class. People who have a whole bunch of skills that can't be used anymore. Because they're using and relying on the skills they learned from a century that we're no longer going to be a part of anymore. Everything tied to the Industrial Revolution, shit like that. There's shit like that it's like, you know, for example, like I make a joke, I laughed. I just made a post about it not too long ago where the kids now don't even know how to write in cursive. They don't need to. The fuck? Like that. My point was, I was making a point in the statement to show how things are changed. I was like, kids don't even know how to write in cursive. They don't need to. But these little motherfuckers know how to code. Fuck cursive. They can code. Nigga, the fuck? Code is the new cursive. Yo, that is some funny shit, bro. Code is the new cursive. You let a motherfucker, oh, these kids can't even write in cursive. You can't code, Mildred. Shut up. Let me not use Mildred because that's a family name. I have a family member in my family name. I'm gonna say Roger. Rufus. I ain't got no Rufuses in my family. These kids can't even these kids can't even write in cursive. And you can't code, Rufus. Shut the fuck up. Like, what you mean? You feel me? Coding is gonna be a staple just like cursive was. I don't make this shit up. Watch. If you two things you're gonna need, two things that are gonna be required, in my opinion, in the future. You're gonna need a website, you're gonna need to know how to code. If you don't know how to code, the coding will be done for you and you will be moved into the childlike mentality unless you can find a way to capitalize in some way, shape, or form. They're going to make you ignorant. Ignorance works. And see, now, y'all know I always talk about capitalism being, capitalism works because of ignorance and convenience. Capitalism works because motherfuckers is children. Think about how, like, as a motherfucker now who does advertising and marketing, I got to advertise and market like I'm talking to kids. I'm not trying to be funny. But when I try to talk to adults and shit and be like, yo, here's the technical shit. No, I got to make it like I'm talking to a kid. I didn't realize why. I never realized why until I learned marketing. I said, oh, it's because they know niggas is kids, bro. They know motherfuckers is children mentally. They know motherfuckers ain't going to want to really absolve their ignorance. So if I make the ignorance hard to absolve, you're not going to want to do it. You feel me? When I talk about shit like at a master in the market and shit and play with inflation, I got to talk about shit like heroes and villains, pockets, pullbacks, battlefields. I can't tell y'all shit. I can't say recessions because that's a bad word. I can't say depressions because that's a bad word. You feel me? Highs, lows. It's certain shit that, certain language that I can't talk because motherfuckers ain't going to get it. You feel me? But it's not until I get you to a certain point that I can use the language and you can see why it makes sense. Because I got to help you absolve the ignorance. You can't be a child here. This is why I tell my Iwi gang, master in the market, they get the pass. They can ask questions because they're still children. They're learning it. Iwi gang, you're not treated like a child. You're treated like a fucking adult. And that's where a lot of people get on my nerves. Well, they don't really get on my nerves, but that's where they get on me and it gets on my nerves. Because they'll tell me I'm too hard on people. I never really got this point because I used to be mad as fuck. People used to tell me what their dreams were, what they want to do. And I'm like, yo, do the shit. I get it. I was an adult talking to children. No disrespect towards you, who, if you're listening and you know that I'm talking about you in this particular context. I'm not talking to you in a disrespectful way. I'm saying, and my drive for you was under the impression that you are willing to absolve your ignorance for what you want to do. And if you weren't, I got frustrated because it's like, and the motherfuckers be like, yo, you're too hard on me. You put too much pressure on me. You this, that, and the third. Everybody ain't built like you. They can be. And it's not that everybody ain't built like me. I realize nobody wants to absolve the ignorance that I've absolved. Everybody I know say, I just want to make money. Nobody wants to absolve the ignorance the way that I did. My shit on point now. Now motherfuckers, yo, trading and investing. I want to get into the shit. All right, cool. That's why y'all got scammed in Forex, because y'all was children. Which is why I couldn't understand how y'all got scammed, because I was, y'all wasn't trying to absolve the ignorance. Y'all relied on signals. Y'all relied on them to send you the text messages in the morning and say, hey, you can get this trade, but keep in mind that this is risky. Enter here, get out. Nah. Y'all wanted somebody to do it for you. You want to remain children. That's the arrogance in this shit. Because this is why I was talking about it promotes the arrogance. Because people get help so much from outside. They regurgitate shit so much that it sounds good. But when it's challenged, then they want to get argumentative. You feel me? Yeah, how many people tell me, yo, do your own research and get mad at me when I start fact checking and start coming back with shit? Oh, I studied that too. I looked into that too. And did you know, if you look at the antithesis on this other side, you'll find this, see, you just trying to show. I'm not trying to show up. I don't want to be ignorant, motherfucker. I don't want to be a child, motherfucker. I want to be an adult. And to be an adult means I have to do certain things. I have to absolve ignorance within myself. So like I said, with that trading shit, when the Forex shit popped off, now motherfuckers is being funny and making, these Forex people, that you're not talking no more and shit. Like, because we doing it. Y'all got scammed by children who are a little less ignorant about it than you. All you keep hearing is get into the markets, but do you trade or do you invest? Should you do stocks, Forex, crypto, or NFTs? My personal answer is not a single one if you don't know how to read a chart. Without knowing how to read a chart, you end up giving all your money to those who do. Do you know what a candle is? Do you know the pocket of activity? Do you know the difference between market direction and market control? If you answer no at least once, you might want to learn how to read a chart first. Learning how to read a chart will let you know if you should trade or invest and if you should do stocks, forex, crypto, and or NFTs. It will also let you know if this is even for you or not. So visit IamJustSeen.com to learn how to read charts with my Mastering the Market course, ebooks, and webinars today. The world is changing. The question is, will you adapt with it? That's all. That's all. Everybody I know who tried to recruit me to the Forex shit, and I was like, yo, you really know how to do this? It was sad to hear that. Because you're trying to recruit me, and in the word, whether it be a Freudian slip or not, they say, oh, you really know how to do this. So that means you're looking for people who don't. A child can't see that. That's why it was so easy to tell a child. Look, and we be laughing like, yo, strangers and shit. Like in the early 90s, they used to tell us a lot of shit. Like, don't take candy from strangers and shit, all that kind of shit. Like, you feel me? And look at what we've evolved into. We hop in cars with strangers. Don't check. Like, I remember when I was lifting and Ubering, I used to tell the ladies and shit, when you get in the car, you feel me? Any Uber, any Lyft, whatever it is, and y'all listen to this shit now. Transfer it to your homegirls or whatever. When you get in the car, partially close the door. Not like leave it halfway open, but close it to where it doesn't close all the way. When you do that, it's a way in which you can fake it to where it looks like, oh, my bad, I wasn't strong enough. You know, you're a woman, it's believable. Oh, my bad, I wasn't strong enough to close the door. But what you're doing is leaving the door partially open, so you have to use the handle to unlock it. Right? You have to use the handle to open it and close it back. If you use that handle, if the child safety lock is on in that car, if you close it partially, it's not going to open. Which means that person is going to have to get out and close the door. Now, in your mind, you know, okay, bet this motherfucker might be trying to traffic me or whatever the case may be. But now you can prepare. So when this motherfucker comes around to open the door and close it, you can kick that motherfucker door open, get the fuck out and run. You have time to do so. Or you can just say, when that motherfucker get out to close the door, you can hop in the front, steal the car. Do whatever you want. But at the same time, here's a way to protect yourself. And I hope y'all take heed to this. Please do. Please do. Always do that. No matter what what kind of Uber it is you're getting in, I don't give a fuck. Close that bitch partially to where it doesn't close all the way. And if that motherfucker has to open the door, get out of that shit. Cancel the shit and say you didn't feel safe and tell why you didn't feel safe, and you can actually report it that way because this lock was on. You see what I'm saying? These child locks are nothing to play with. You're stuck at that point. Don't do it. But keep that in mind. But again, this is the point that we just hop in cars with strangers because they said we can do it, right? Because now we don't even really question the shit anymore because it's like, oh, there's so many legalities that have now been put in place and sanctions that have worked to make Uber and Lyft safe. Then trafficking still wouldn't be popping the way it is. Most motherfuckers are getting kidnapped out of Lyfts and Ubers. You see what I'm saying? But it comes with the childish shit right now. Here's another point that I want to make with that, because I also want to get into a little bit of the mind. Being childish, in a sense, is one of the things that makes you a believer. Religion is only for children. What I'm gonna say now, y'all niggas know how I get down. Religion is only for children. If you follow a religion, it's because you're a child. In context of how we're breaking this down now, you only need a religion because you cannot absolve your own ignorance of within your spirituality. Now, you don't know what your spirituality is because you've been given religion as guise to say this is what spirituality is. It always blows my mind when people who say, it's mostly family, because all my life they told me you got to know the word for yourself. And when I knew it for myself, I found out that nobody knew it. Pissed me off because it's like, it's the childish mentality. Children largely get excited about the shit that they've heard, and they tell it as if, you know what I mean? Because it's cool. It's you feel what I'm saying? How many of us don't stop doing that shit? We don't know shit about shit. We regurgitate what we believe solely because we trust the motherfucker that told it to us multiple times. That's scary when you really think about it. Scary as fuck. But I'm saying that because there's so many things about any religion that when I bring up, motherfuckers like, I didn't know that. Nigga, how? I remember, I never forget this. I was having a whole conversation with a motherfucker. They were talking about polytheism, right? My bad, I ate my water. Thank you for bearing with me. So they were talking about polytheism, right? And they were looking at me saying, because I was talking about my eye and things of that nature. And they're like, you're polytheist. I was like, you are too, nigga. The fuck? What you mean? They're like, I'm not polytheist. I only believe in the one true living God. He's my God. He's this, that, and the third. I said, when God made you, what did he say? They're like, what? He's like, and then they had the nerve to say, well, because I'm creating the image and like, but did you actually read that verse? Niggas ain't even made it out of Genesis yet. This is in Genesis when it says, let us create man in likeness and let us create man in our image and likeness. I'm going to break down that whole verse in a whole episode because I got something that I want to do with that down the line, but I'm setting the tone. Let us create man in our image and likeness. But when I say, oh, wait, there was multiple gods present when man was made and you end up serving one. Imagine, I ain't even gonna hold you. A lot of y'all will refuse to put a motherfucking name on a project paper if they did no work, even if they in a group. You'll be like, look, this person, or you report it to the teacher, this person didn't do no motherfucking work. But yet, we serve a deity that tells us there's no other God before me, but I needed other gods to make you. Children. A child doesn't have a desire to absolve that ignorance when they believe that their deity is right, wise, right, and exact. There's nothing wrong with it. So when you start to see these conflicting realities, you can't break through them. You just got to kind of deal with them and say, you know what? I believe it. Well, that's context because you got to know that's in the spiritual realm. This is in the physical realm. You see how children can really make up any excuse when ignorance is present? They can't give you the concrete answer. And that's what happens. A lot of religious people give excuses and not information. You ever notice that shit? They don't give an understanding of what they give an excuse as to why this can be. You know what I mean? Like, so when I ask the question, it's like, yo, y'all, imagine that. That's some fucked up shit. If me and four other motherfuckers, the reason why I'm saying four is because there's four entities that created them, and it's in the book. But if me and me and three other motherfuckers created somebody, well, it's actually seven, but we'll talk about four. But if me and three other motherfuckers created something, you feel me? And one of these niggas said, you know what? This creation only is mine. It belongs to me. Nigga, fuck you. All three of us gonna beat your one ass. Nigga, the fuck? And take your creation because it's ours. We all made it. But there's no other God before that God. And we all made you together. That's fucked up, right? That's some real fucked up shit until you understand what it really means. Because when it's us creating an image and likeness, like I said, I'm gonna break this full episode down. But when it's us creating an image and likeness of God, you got to understand what God is. God's name. You're giving it in the English language, which is called a God. But when you go back to the Hebrew context, it was Yahovah, Yahweh, right? Yah-Heh, Vav-Heh. Those are the four elements of air, fire, water, and earth. When you're creating the image and likeness of God, you're creating an amalgamation of those four elements, which is what? The zodiac sign, which is what? Your natal chart. Your natal chart shows how you created the image and likeness of God, whether it be your natal chart, your numerology breakdown, I can show you that side too, or your human design. All of these show you how you're creating the image and likeness. This is why they say, let us create man and likeness, because you're creating fire, you're creating earth, you're creating water, you're creating air. Plus sound, thought, and light. But that's not, you feel me? Even how the shit starts. Look at how the creation was made. Created the heavens and the earth, created the waters and the shit like think about it. You feel what I'm saying? But they made it believe that it was just one deity, one being. Childlike. That's childish. That's what it's like to remain a child mentally. You see what I'm saying? You taking on some shit that you don't even know if it's right or wrong, but you took it. You know why? Because you believe it, because you trust it, because you're a child. And it's not no disrespect and it comes off disrespectful when you look at it from a tier's perspective of, oh, I'm over 40 years old. I'm a grown, no, you're a grown ass child. How much ignorance do you absolve? How much ignorance have you absolved of your religion? So when I tell people I don't believe in deities, I don't believe in religions. Now I tell you, I understand them. People can't get it because, and I get it. And I be like, yo, how don't you get it? Because they don't want to absolve their ignorance. They want to remain children in regards to this. Tying it back to what I mentioned at the beginning, how the religions tell you to come into the religion, come to the deity as a child. But we take it the wrong way. We take it as come as naive and gullible, not as innocent to see that there's no good and bad. That's the power of it. There's no good and bad. So when you know that you're coming to this religion, there's no good and bad, that means you're not looking at the world or the devil or the dark forces as bad, and you're not solely looking at the good forces as good. You're coming as innocent and say, this is so. This is why it's like, yo, you know what? God can do some fucked up shit. The devil can do some good shit. Like, all you have to do is read the context. But imagine reading the context knowing that the devil is bad. But when you read the context where the devil showed up, he didn't do shit but tell motherfuckers to do some logical shit. He told Eve and Adam, eat of the tree of knowledge because it will make you think like him. You're created in the image and the likeness already, but he doesn't want you to exhibit the image and likeness. Think about that. But the devil does. The devil says, hey, eat of the fruit of knowledge and you will become like him. So the sole fact that Adam and Eve didn't know they were already not like him shows that they clearly weren't created in the image and likeness. It's weird, but it makes sense why it says God regretted the day he made man. Nigga, the condom pop. Like, nigga, I'm mad. Like, you feel me? It's little shit like that, but it's like, until you can see it innocently without the good or the bad, you can't see it. So when I tell people who have uttered the words God is good all the time, but when God says, I create the destroyer to work havoc in your life, but he can only do what I allow. No weapon forged against you shall prosper. It's like, wow, that's not good behavior. That's not good behavior. But that's what makes it bad, because when you see the bad behavior, you think it's good. It's a blessing in disguise. The fuck it's not. It's some fucked up shit that's catering to the child in you because you don't want to absolve your ignorance and deal with it. Because what happens when you absolve ignorance? When you absolve ignorance, you start gaining knowledge. Knowledge you now have to apply to gain experience. And experience you now have to get creative with to gain understanding. It's a snowball effect. The moment you don't know something, you don't have to know no more. That's it. But you can remain a child forever with this shit. And it's a dangerous thing, because I know a lot of people say, I want to keep my childlike zeal when I get older and shit. No, you don't. No, you don't. That's the last thing you want to have when if you still got your childlike zeal when it's time for you to kick the bucket. You ain't learned shit. I feel bad for you. You coming back in this motherfucker. And like I said, watching people obtain what they think is knowledge and it's not. You're just regurgitating information. I be whooping people ass, yo, academically. And I don't know funny shit like, and it's because they come to me on some shit like, I feel like you ignorant because you, hey, I don't give a fuck what you think. When you see what I understand, it's gonna make you look so stupid. Like the way in which I deliver shit in subtle one-liners, it'd be like, wow, how did you connect? Cause I understand this shit. It's different. I've already absolved myself of the ignorance of this shit. That's why I know so much. I refuse going back to why. Think about if you're an entrepreneur, if you've been in one of these entrepreneur courses, if you've been on your due diligence studying and shit, what's the number one thing they teach you to start entrepreneurship with? Your why. Why? What they tell you, your why is what you have to revert back to. You know why? Because your why is the one thing that you know how to solve the answer for that you haven't solved yet. Like, think about it. What's your why as to like my why is to make sure my great granddaughter does not have to live in the my why is so that my great granddaughter does not have to experience the world as it's intended for her to experience. We're in a misogynistic, racist world. That means that black people are at the bottom, and at the bottom of that are black women. In order for me to secure and change my entire bloodline, I have to focus on the one who will be impacted by my failure the most. Everybody say I go hard. Everybody don't know my why. And because you don't know my why, you don't know how much ignorance I had to absolve. You know what it's like when you decide to focus on your great granddaughter, you're looking to the fourth generation. So that's 3 generations ahead. Some motherfuckers haven't looked past next week, but to look far as 4 generations. 3 generations out to look that far. There's a lot of ignorance you got to absolve. There's a lot of things you got to do. So when people ask me, well, it looks like I'm all over the fucking place. Why do you have so frail? Because my great granddaughter, hopefully she marries a man. It is what it is. Whole different age. But the purpose that I'm saying that is that if she's finding the man, she knows what to look for. That's what so frail is for. You feel what I'm saying? Knowing the 7 things your body needs and the 5 food groups to get them from plant-based wise, those are necessities because it's going to help with your health, your wealth, your nutrition and shit like that. You feel me? Day trading and investing, like moving money in markets and shit like that. That's going to help keep the wealth. I don't give a fuck if they get a job. I don't give a fuck if they go to college, but these 3 staples they have to understand. So when my great granddaughter, like when she comes into this world, she's not going to have to she will be able to face she will be able to face misogyny and racism, right, without having to deal with it. A lot of us, I've experienced racism like a motherfucker, covert, over, it don't matter, and I couldn't do shit about it. I couldn't do shit about it. The people before me couldn't do shit about it. You feel what I'm saying? My kids can't do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, in the moments of when some shit happened, it's like, yo, I could leave this job right now because I'm good. It's like, you know what? I got to take this. Because I can't go nowhere. This is programming that's already been set. As children, for the first 18 years of life, you can't leave home, even when shit don't work for you. So you're already used to staying in situations you don't want to be in. I'm sorry. I love it. I love the totality of everything, but you can't convince me overall that you had a good childhood if you wanted to run away at least once. I know a lot of people say, oh, may have been petty. It was this, it was chat. No, if you've ever wanted to run away at least once, you can't say you have a good childhood. And if you've tried it, yeah, you wanted to get away. You had to escape that shit, but you couldn't because that was your food, clothing, and shelter. I just seen one of my good friends post on Facebook. Because look, I know if y'all on Facebook, I don't be on Facebook, but I just go there and steal my old posts and post them on Instagram. But she made a post and said, children don't understand that all we're required to do is provide food, clothing, and shelter till they get 18. Wow. And it's crazy because I once thought like that. Because I was brought up like that. Because I just got to get you to 18. I just got to do like, this is our culture. Imagine that shit. I'm not teaching you how to absolve any of your ignorance, but when you're 18, I let you go. Wow. I'm leaving you to absolve your ignorance on your own. A lot of parents be thinking, you know, my children don't, because you're not teaching your children to learn. You're teaching your children to obey. When our children ask us questions, we don't teach them how to find an answer. We don't teach them how to solve the problem. We give them the answer. And if they don't like the answer that we give them, or they say that answer is wrong, we shut down, we attack them, or we say whatever. Rather than saying, yo, am I really wrong? Am I really wrong? I seen a situation one time where this dude, his mama was wrong and she didn't know him because she didn't want to admit that she didn't know. She yelled at him and got mad at him. It made it look like something was wrong with him. If you just listen to this, you need to be listening in class. And it's like, it don't matter if I listen, I don't know how to do it. That's why I'm asking you, because you made it seem like you know how to do it. You don't? Wow. That's crazy. So now for 18 years of life, we're believing that we're being led when we're being controlled. And now it makes it easy that when we are now as an adult getting in, well, when the real world happened, you're not going to be able to run away from this. Why not? How come in this real world that we keep talking about, when I'm violated, I can't leave the situation? I don't give a fuck. My great granddaughter, because of $1, my great granddaughter will never feel that. Never. To where if she gets a sexual harassment or somebody saying something slick to her and she has to stay there, laugh it off because it was a joke or whatever the case may be, being age. No, it's like, yo, leave. This environment ain't good for you. But I just can't leave because this, that, and third. No member of my bloodline from henceforward would ever have to do that. But that's forms of ignorance that I had to absolve, because there's things that I was like, how do you do that if you don't know how to do it? They don't need to be figuring it out. I promise you, just from the last 6 years that I've been putting it in, I don't want no kids. No child should have that. A child should be able to absolve their ignorance on their own time within their lifetime. Now, granted, I want my children to be able to cut the curve faster than me, but that lets me know that I have to respect them as the children that they are, which means that they're here to absolve themselves of ignorance. And here's where it gets a little bit deeper, because the only ignorance that they're supposed to absolve themselves of is the ignorance tied to their purpose and their mission for this world. It's motherfuckers right now who are doctors, who are supposed to be speakers, who are supposed to be educators outside of that shit, who are supposed to be teaching shit deeper than that, but they can't because they're locked in and they can't lose their job and they don't know how to monetize with their purpose. You know how many motherfuckers are in positions or jobs that they think was their career? Oh, this is my career move because this is my lifelong dream. How? I'm sorry, like being an entrepreneur for as long as I've been and doing podcasts, doing all the shit that I literally want to do. There are no bad days. There are no bad days. And this is when I'm understanding that this is where I have the innocence. It's crazy because we don't lose our innocence. We maintain it. We lose our innocence when we lose our innocence when we're exposed in a way that we cannot absolve our ignorance. And then we have to pick good or bad. I don't know how to understand what is happening to me. So I'm going to chronologize this. I'm going to section this off. This is a good experience. This is a bad experience. This is why years down the line, a good experience could turn bad, or years down the line, a bad experience could turn into the blessing in disguise, because it's what you do with the experience. Now, when you're absolving yourself of ignorance, is how you're transmuting that energy. You dig what I mean? So when it comes to children, it's like your goal is to maintain the innocence, right? But maintain the innocence, not in a sense that you're going into it's like a kick becomes a kick. It's like going through the tree of life. Your innocence starts as Kether, the full path. This is why you ever heard the phrase God only protects children and babies. Children and babies. No, children and drunk people. That's what it is. No, what is it? No, God only protects children and fools. That's what it is. I'm saying it all fucked up. God only protects children and fools. Two ignorant motherfuckers. The only ignorant motherfuckers there are. You know why? Because in your quest to try to absolve ignorance, you have to learn. You feel me? You have to learn. So when you go from Tree of Life, Kether down to Malkuth, you realize, oh, I'm a fool again. But now I maintained it. But now it's like, because I have absolved the ignorance. Now I can see why it is just a thing. It's good or it's not good or bad. I don't have to put a title to certain shit because I understand what it is. That's one of the things that helped me understand people so much better. I took their titles away. I treat everybody like a human now. I've been doing it for a long time, but I treat everybody like a human more so I treat them like a child. You're out. I figured when I approach you, it's because our connection is tied to you needing to absolve ignorance of some kind. Because I know that's what mine is. I don't meet you for no reason at all. There's something I do not know and only you can teach me. Whether it be for 10 minutes or 5 minutes. Like when I do my one-on-one session sometimes, not from just mastering the market, but just like whatever. Like I tell people, they're like, yo, man, I'm learning something, and I'm learning from you too. You feel me? When I was doing mastering the market one-on-one, and everybody like, yo, man, I'm so grateful for you. And it's like, yo, I'm learning from you too, because you're helping me teach it better. You're helping me learn how to teach it better, which ultimately created a community where I only have to teach. I don't have to teach multiple people like sporadically. It's like I'm gonna teach multiple people at one time, and they can come back and watch it if they miss it. You feel what I'm saying? I had to absolve certain ignorances to where you can look at a thing and say, this is just what it is. It's not like good, bad, or ugly, but it comes from losing that childlike piece of yourself. No, it comes from maintaining that childlike piece of yourself to absolve yourself of ignorance. Ask why. When was the last time you asked why and kept pushing? You feel me? We allot ourselves one why to people. You see what I'm saying? Think about this. Well, I'll say three. I'm going to say three, but mainly one why. Like if somebody says something that you didn't hear, you be like, huh? If you still didn't hear him, you say, huh? But if you hear him again, you're going to act like you heard him and keep it pushing. Oh, I'm not going to tell you to repeat yourself, because I don't want it to seem like you know what I'm saying? Like there's certain images that we don't want to do because we don't want to look stupid. Imagine this: the child, like, when children learn to walk, when children learn to talk, when children learn to create their art and shit, they don't think that they're stupid. They don't think that they're looking stupid in any way, shape, or form. They don't even know what looking stupid looks like or feels like. They can't fathom it. Children be looking like damn Bambi and shit when they're trying to learn how to walk. They don't give a fuck. When children are learning to walk, you ever seen the excitement in their face? Like, bitch, I'm standing up, nigga, let's go. Like, you ever seen how before they take that step, they stand up and they wobble, and their body just be moving? They smiling the whole motherfucking time. Not a single time in their mind is anything negative processing. Or not a single time in their mind are thinking, oh, well, once I start walking this shit, then motherfucker might have to worry about this. Then they not thinking, they're like, bitch, I'm up. And I'm up with y'all. Y'all better hope I don't get this shit. Then after they learn to walk, what do? They learn to run, and then they stop sitting still. And then what do? Tell them to sit still when they learn how to walk. Imagine being a child and your first whys, the first time you absolve ignorance was to learn how to talk, learn how to walk, communicate yourself and say, okay, bet. And then after you get the excitement of learning how to talk and walk for the rest of your life, you're told to sit down and shut up. That shit crazy, right? We don't even remember hearing, oh, walk for me or say this for me. Or can you say mama? Can you say dada? Can you do this? Can you say this? Can you say this? You feel me? Then we spend the rest of the time. Children are to be seen and not heard. God damn, you spend all that time telling me to talk, only to tell me to shut up. Sit down, shut up. Sit down somewhere. You're doing too much. The reason why that is because it's a child clashing with another child and doesn't know that the children are clashing. You're a child, so you're supposed to be ignorant. I'm still a child, and they don't let me be ignorant no more. Because you were supposed to absolve your ignorance. It ain't their fault that you felt, okay, I got to go get this. Like, and those are the things that fuck us up as people. Like, we say, what is a good education? That's good training, nigga. Like, that ain't no education good. I ain't never met a smart, educated motherfucker, bro. Who didn't like, it's one thing when you know shit about your shit. But then when you know shit outside of your shit, then because that's where the curiosity is. You can't convince me that motherfuckers say, I want to go out travel. I want to experience other things of the world, but I don't want to learn new shit. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it. I don't get it. When people say I'm going to travel, motherfuckers travel for Instagram pictures. I travel to learn. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna learn something. You feel me? That's life. Everybody has a natural inclination to know, to absolve their ignorance. But why don't people want to do it? Why do people get afraid to do it? Because they're still children. We're all still children. We're all still children because we don't understand that being a child doesn't stop when we turn 18 or 21. When we graduate from college and shit. That's why a lot of motherfuckers, whether they're willing to admit it or not, I know, because I can tell, because I know who I'm talking to. But a lot of motherfuckers still feel like children on the inside. But they don't want to admit it. You feel me? I never forget, like, people like, when you are a hop skipping away from death and you're still saying the Lord ain't finished with me yet, you're still a child. You're not absolving the ignorance that, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, you want the ignorance absolved for you. That's scary when you really think about it. Because you know how many people say, you know what, I'm just going to put my burdens on the altar. You going to give your burdens back to the deity that gave them to you to strengthen you? What sense does that make? You feel me? Like, I heard so many cliches growing up regarding religion and shit that it's like, I got to just respond a certain way. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can't tell me all certain shit you can't say to me if you really gonna say you're gonna believe in a religion, because I gotta hold you to that. You dig what I'm saying? Like, it's certain shit you just can't say to me and mean it, because it's like, yo, what you mean you still a work in progress? Like, your time is almost up. You need, if he was ever gonna work on you, he was gonna work on you, and that's the problem, because this is why I say religion is for children. Imagine this. I'm gonna try to say this and I'm gonna wrap it up. Jesus is a scapegoat. He's a scapegoat for children, right? And he's a scapegoat for children in the sense that I have to realize that I can't stop doing any of my bad behavior. So I need something to cover me, because I'm going to do my bad behavior anyway. That means I have not absolved the ignorance to show that whatever it is that I'm doing, there's a problem in it. You feel me? Accountability and responsibility are things children don't have. When you start to develop these characteristics, you lose the ability to be a child. A lot of us have been responsible and accountable for shit since we were kids, so we never really been kids. You dig what I'm saying? Addiction, and it ties into temptation and addiction, why these things work, because it's the curiosity. I want to absolve the ignorance, and now I'm absolving the ignorance with something that they told me I couldn't have, but now that I have it, I feel like it's a good thing. Fuck what they talk about. You mean to tell me if I smoke some weed, I stop thinking? Not in the sense that I get stupid, but for that brief moment, my anxiety stops. Oh, bitch, I'm about to be high all the time because my anxiety is strong all the time. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's little shit like that they don't understand how the system works by keeping y'all children and make it create an illusion that you ain't a child. How raw is that? Bitch, I'm 18. I'm a grown ass man. This is why I'll be listening to motherfuckers when they want to convince me that they grown. They talk about how many years they've been on this earth. You feel me? Man, I'm a 30-year-old man, bro. Hey, you sure? You sure? How much ignorance have you absorbed? Man, that's why it's like when I look at this high value shit, this new high value thing that's going on and shit, it's like, yo, none of these niggas can absolve their own ignorance. Imagine this, right? A woman says she want a man that's, they say, oh, I need a man that's making six figures. There's two realities to that right there, right? If you want an employee that's going to be making six figures, he's not going to have the time for you. You want an entrepreneur that's going to make six figures, he's not going to want you because you don't know how to make six figures. Let me explain something to you. Entrepreneur six figures and salary six figures, they different. It's different. It's different, yeah. Trust me, it's different as fuck. Those figures are different. And I'm going to tell you why they different. They different because all I have to do is show up for the job. Oh, this is my task list. I got to do this, that, and the third. Okay, cool. That's the type of man that a woman want, the six figure. You can't have the six figure entrepreneur, man, because he's not going to want you. This is not me saying I'm the six figure entrepreneur, man. But on this quest to making six figures, I'm trying to tell you, within these next 2 years, I'm breaking that shit. But on the quest to next figures, like I got to, I want to do it this year. This year, hopefully, I can cross six figures by the end of the year. But then the next 2 years, I'm doing it. But the point that I'm making with that is that it's different on the entrepreneur side versus the employee side. A six-figure employee is not the same as a six-figure entrepreneur. Here's why. Six-figure employee gets a task list of all the things that they have to do, right? All they have to do is replicate that process every day. They don't have to think outside the box and fix their own problems. There's no problem to solve. Entrepreneurs are problem solvers, which means that if you're a problem solver, naturally you're an absolver of ignorance. Nurturally, I guess, too. You're an absolver of ignorance, right? So when the women say, oh, I got to have a man that's going to make six figures, right? Do you have the discipline to be with that? Because now when you get the man, oh, he works in tech, he like, six figures ain't going to be shit going forward. Six figures is the new entry level, if you didn't know. It's about to be the new entry level. That's how much money was made during the pandemic that people don't want to talk about. CEOs and like, that's how much money was made that six figures is going to be the new entry level. $75,000, $80,000. Because again, tying it back to what I was saying, we were in the industrial age before. Now we're in the technological age. All that shit goes into I didn't even finish that thought. Oh, let me go ahead and wrap this up so we can bring this back. And that goes into the useless people. By the year 2050, there's going to be a useless class. There's going to be people who have no skills. You know why? Because they didn't take their childhood to absolve their ignorance. When they're in 2050, I'll be 60 years old. 60. Which means the retirement class will be the useless class. No time in history has the retirement class been called useless until now. This class right now, that's like, they're literally, I'm so glad that my elders are a part of this, because this is the last time they're going to be beneficial. The elder class is going to be useless next time. Because you got to think about it. Our age bracket is going to be that elder class in 2050. How many? Our age class is going to be the elder class in 20 fucking 50. And that is when the useless class will be solidified. Basically, if there is a useless class, that means everything we went to college for, everything we worked for, everything we put all our fucking money into to learn, to make sure we got a good degree, we got a good job and all that shit, is going to be obsolete in 28 fucking years. And don't forget to check out Cafe Clothing, formerly Just Scenes merch. Get all of your intricate designs crafted specifically for the melanated being to develop a positive imagery within self and to have a little bit of fun in the process. From the peace, love, knowledge, and freedom to the dead horses and water designs, all of the styles are crafted for the imagery to make you feel as you're supposed to feel. Because as I always say, the best way to fit in is to stand out. And what better way to stand out than with your exclusive styles from Cafe Clothing. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end it there because I don't want to scare y'all. That's what it's like to absolve yourself for ignorance, being a child. This is what they do because we can't absolve ourselves with ignorance when the shit get old. Like, this is why they had Social Security. This is why they had pensions. This is why they had those things, because they knew by 60, y'all can't function and y'all gonna give us 40 years of your life. We at least got to try to look out for y'all, or they'll fire you before you hit your retirement, so they don't got to pay you for the shit. That shit hit different. That's some fucked up shit. But imagine in 2050 when the useless class hits. I'm letting you guys know right now, because y'all are my age. Y'all are around my age. Y'all are my audience. We are going to be the front runners for the possibility of the useless class. I'm gonna tell you, this is why I started off like this. If you don't have a website, if you don't know coding, you don't have at least those 2 points. The reason why I'm saying that, if you have a website, you can set up real estate. You can set up online real estate. All you have to do with a website, you can create websites ain't but $15. You can create a website. All you have to do is generate traffic. Create a ebook, something that people, you can generate income just like that, right? You have to realize which way the world is turning. We're no longer producer and consumer. I might have to do a podcast episode on that, but we're no longer producer and consumer. We are creator and attention. That's it. The world has changed to keep niggas on the internet, keep motherfuckers on their phone. As a motherfucker who has gone to the other side to talk to motherfuckers off Instagram, meta social media motherfuckers, and talk like, yo, this is it. We reward you for keeping people online. That's it. We want you to keep people here. Oh, they reward you for real. I get paid to make reels. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I just, wow. But you have to realize that this is about like, everybody's a content creator. I love your content. I didn't even register. Like, I didn't realize that I was a content creator at first. I thought I was just doing me. Like, you feel me? Because I started doing this shit like in 2015. So it wasn't, at that time, we weren't called influencers. We weren't called content creators. We weren't called this shit. We were just Instagrammers. This was before TikTok. You feel me? This was before we had Kick. This was before TikTok, before Snapchat, before a lot of the shit. We were just TikTok. We were just Instagrammers. That's what they called us. But we're content creators. We started growing because that's the way the next 100 years is built off content creation. Either you're creating the content or you're giving your attention to the content. You feel me? By 2050, there will be a useless class, which means there will be people who do not know how to deliver content to hold attention. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. That means in 2050, nobody will be able to hold somebody's attention. You're not creative enough to hold somebody's attention. So now when we look at relationships and shit, and we're thinking, why don't cuz think about this. Motherfuckers are literally gonna be lumped into a useless class. Right? Our generation, when we're elders, time to retire, there will be the availability of a useless class. Either you're going to be useless or you're not. But by 2050, there will be a useless class of motherfuckers. All because they never learned to absolve ignorance. Absolving ignorance is creativity. Like, creativity comes from that. Creativity sits between experience and understanding. Creativity derives from applying experience. When you become creative, that's when you reach understanding, because you know how to do something outside of what its original creation was. That's understanding, right? A lot of us don't even understand the basics of what this new life is going to be. We're definitely in the new heaven and new hell. New heaven, new earth. This shit changed. You feel me? The Mayans predicted it. Year 2021, 2012 is going to end. The age ended. The age of Pisces ended. We're in the age of Aquarius. This is all knowledge. This is why they're rolling out artificial intelligence. They're erasing your ass. You know why? Because it's about creation and it's about attention, which means intellectual property is going to run. You have to be educating yourself, which means in order for you to have any ounce of intellectual property, you have to do what? Absolve your motherfucking ignorance. The education system's fucked up. Motherfuckers can't. It's the shit is different now. Motherfuckers literally don't know the difference between there, and there. Your. That's scary, homie. So what you think's gonna happen? What you think 2050 really gonna look like? You ready for it? You got 28 years to prepare. 28 years to prepare. That is a lifetime. That is a whole life cycle. You have 28 years to prepare for this. Or you can continue to think you good. I had this conversation. I was 28 years old. I told my cousins, we had a family function, all the ones my age. I said, y'all better prepare because my generation can't retire. I'm going to retire. I'm good. I'm this, that, and the third. I said, y'all see, prepare properly. Please. I'm going to retire. I'm locking in. I'm going to put my time. You're not fucking retiring. And now I understand. The same people thinking that they're going to retire from my generation are the ones who are going to create the useless class. I see it right now. I see who's going to be in the useless class right motherfucking now. I prepared. I prepared. I don't think I can prepare anymore. So when I am a part of the useless class, I'm a day trade. Because look, on some real shit, I don't know what the next 28 years is going to be like. When I bring my kids into this world, I'm stepping away from the world. I already absolved all the ignorance that I want to absolve for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing left for me to do but start creating my kids and shit. When I create my kids, all my attention goes into making sure they can absolve their ignorance. So I'm liable to be in that useless class. But I'm not going there for nothing. Nigga, I'm gonna still be trading. I'm still gonna be invested. I'm still gonna be looking at shit that can't be broken, that doesn't change with time. You dig what I mean? Because I gotta prepare for the shit. But that's because I'm not a child. You feel me? I don't have the desire to not absolve my ignorance. No, I am I do experience that childlike reality to where I want to absolve my ignorance. But what I'm saying is that I don't eliminate that because I'm now an adult based off legalities. Nah. Anything that I'm oblivious to, I'm a child. I don't care what it is. That's how I look at life. I don't look at life according to age anymore. I stopped. I don't look at it and say, oh, because I'm 30, I'm almost 33, that I'm an adult, I'm this and the third. Nah, it depends on what it is. I'm not a grown-ass man in certain regards. When it comes to trading and investing, I'm an old head. When it comes to mastering the market, I'm an old head. When it comes to plant-based nutrition, I'm an old head. Ain't no way around that shit. But new shit that I've never experienced, I'm a child, bro, and I come into that situation as a child. So this is another thing that happens when they tell us to go. Like, one thing that people say about me, they're always like, "Yo, you so quiet." No, I'm not. I'm a child. I'm a child when I come into a situation. I should not be opening my mouth because I know nothing about what's going on. But as I'm picking up the game and I'm seeing who does know, who knows what's what, and then I start to study and I learn, I'm not a child anymore. So when I come into the situation next time, I'm not gonna be a child. Had an old head tell me one time, you can only say I don't know one time and get away with it. Ever since then, if I ever said I don't know, right after I said I don't know, I made a point to go look it up, to go study it, to go learn it. Not on no shit like, you feel me? It's because I realized how powerful ignorance is. Ignorance is the reason why capitalism works. I don't have to absolve my ignorance when this is conveniently made for me. I don't have to cook food when food is already cooked. I just got to go buy it. You feel me? I don't have to work out when I could just go get surgery. You feel what I'm saying? I don't have to work out when I can take a diet pill. I don't have to lose fat when I could take an uncoupling pill that fucks my entire body up. It's levels. It's levels. This is why they get you. Like, I don't have to work on my immune system if there's an immune system aisle. You feel me? It's different. It's different. we remain children because it's easier to thrive. Accountability and responsibility are heavy burdens, and they're the prices you have to pay for freedom. It's crazy, but it's real. But I'm gonna go ahead and end it there, yo. I think I talked enough. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And our kids, bro, they're gonna ask you why. Start asking. Here's like, this is something that I'm fortunate enough that I love my mother for. I love my mother for a lot of things, but this particular, like, she couldn't answer my questions when I was young, but she taught me how to be a researcher. She taught me how to absolve my ignorance. She knew I wasn't gonna stop being a child. She knew I wasn't gonna stop asking her questions. So what she would do was, when I would ask questions in class, like, I literally, like, I have a rabbit hole type of mind. I can ask you one question that'll open up the door for the next question. They'll be like, yo, did you have all these questions? No, but you answered this question and it opened this up. That's how the mind works, right? So to be like, my mom will be on some shit like, limit your questions or whatever the case may be. Well, she showed me how to be a researcher. You feel me? She had me in the libraries all the time, to where it was like, oh, let's go to the library. Bam. I would go to the library. Like, I remember I used to do book reports and shit. Like, I remember my favorite dinosaur to this day is the Ankylosaurus. The Ankylosaurus. I love the bitch. Got a little club tail. He got spikes on his back. He protect himself. He can fuck a lot of shit up. I don't know why he was never in the movies. Because, some say dinosaurs ain't real. But the Ankylosaurus was always my favorite dinosaur. And it was only because when I was in like the second grade, we had to do a report on dinosaurs. And my mom said, I never forget this. She said, what dinosaur you want to do? I said, I want to do the T-Rex. She's like, you sure? Isn't somebody already doing that? I said, probably. I was like, what about the Triceratops? It's okay. What about the Brontosaurus? The ones everybody knew. And I said, why don't we try to, she was like, why don't we try to find one that nobody has used before? And I came across the Ankylosaurus. Never heard of it before. Never seen it before. And then when I broke it down, like, nobody had seen it. When I gave my presentation, because we were talking about it in class, everybody shut the fuck up and listened to me. The people that talked about the T-Rex, nobody really listened because everybody knows about a T-Rex. When I talked about the Ankylosaurus, it was quiet. She opened up a door that taught me how to absolve my ignorance. It's a double-edged sword sometimes, because at times what it ends up doing to me is sends me down rabbit holes where I lose conceptions of time. There's days when I be like, sometimes Iwi, I be having to apologize to the Iwi because I be missing class, and I be like, y'all, my bad, because I be locked into some shit studying. Because that's just me. But that's how I absolve my ignorance. But our kids, what we have to do from the future is make sure that we're allowing them to absolve the ignorance. When they ask why, if you don't have the answer, that is perfectly fine. Show them how to find it. Act like you do. Show them how to find it so they get the experience. So they're not trusting the word of a person. They're getting the experience to see the tangible proof. So that way seeing is really believing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's crazy how motherfuckers be like, seeing is believing. They never seen shit. It's weird. But that's the shit that we got to deal with. So we got to make sure our kids are on point with that. We got to make sure our kids are able to fully and successfully do that. Okay, if our kids are able to absolve ignorance, when we become that useless class, we got some useful motherfuckers to take care of us. If not, they gonna be useless too. But I'm gonna go to end it there, yo. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. I'm gonna see y'all on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.